I would argue it's the single most powerful driving force that drives all of us. It's that feeling, that vengeance, that need, that itch that we have to scratch. The reason you'll pay for a speeding ticket in pennies, or the reason you pretended to lose her number and then really did lose her number afterwards. What am I talking about here, folks? I'm talking about the most important emotion of all, spite.
So I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick, folks.
We're old friends dissecting one topic at a time. People, technology, media, we've got it all covered.
Each discussion here is a deep dive into our unique perspectives. Taboo, forbidden subjects, they're all on the chopping block, baby. We don't pander to popular opinion. We might even get a little bit dirty.
Warning, this podcast may contain mature language and sexual content, and is for infotainment purposes only.
So join us. Have a good time.
Open up your ear holes, because we're going to fondle your follicles. Here we are again for another episode of the Unbanderers, featuring myself, Dan.
And myself, Nick.
Yeah.
Glad we got that fixed up there.
Yeah. It's feeling smooth.
Smooth like butter. It is.
Harmonic. Beautiful. So, spite. Yeah. Are you spiteful, Nick? You don't seem spiteful, but I feel like it's under the surface. It's boiling. The tension.
Yeah, I'm
is
very
ripe.
spiteful. I can give you something I've been doing for 7 weeks at work.
Oh, yeah?
So we have these things called daily wealth sheets. We have to fill out, it's essentially the quotes we made, how much they're worth, the percentage, and then the dials we made and the line cards we sent out. And you can see all this from one convenient computer screen. But the bosses are really old, and I don't know if they know how to use it, so we have to physically write it down on a piece of paper. It's very annoying. You got to write down the quote number, how much it's worth.
You can't, print it
out.
out.
I literally... There's a couple people at work who do this. They print it out, but they're on different screens, so you'd have to print out something, cut it, and paste it to something else, and cut it out and paste it to
Construction
something else,
paper. You're getting out the little scissors and glue.
So there's one for every class of salesmen.
Bingo, I got bingo.
It's, there's different, whatever. Well, one of my associates, Kelly, printed out accidentally 70 copies or 100 copies of Daily Wealth Sheet for junior exec and below. And it's all in the same format, except that instead of after phone calls, incoming calls, outgoing calls, who you call, this call, for line cards, there's high potential, low potential, and medium potential, and you can fill it out. On the juniors only, it says just line cards. It's just you put the number. There's no low potential, high potential, or other potential. And then at the bottom, you put your quotes and everything. Well, I used it one day, and my boss was like, you can't use that one. It says... we don't have different line cards. And I'm like, I just put the number of line cards I put. It's 3 or 4 every day. And he's like, yeah, but you have to use the juniors one. And I have 68 pages of whatever. And I was like, I'll just let me use these. I already printed out. I don't want to waste paper. And he's like, no, it doesn't work like that. You have to throw them out. So do you know what I do every single day when I fill out a line card? I white out the word juniors and under, and then I white out the kind of line card. And I've been doing it for 6 weeks straight. And all the guys in work think it's hilarious. They're like, just use the other one. You're going to get in trouble. And I'm like, who cares? It's a piece of paper. How dumb is that?
No one's checking that.
And they're like, you're being spiteful. And I'm like, they're being spiteful. Who's being more spiteful here?
You don't understand.
They're like, it's their paper. You're just wasting paper. And I'm like, that's not the point. And so, for me, being spiteful is all about the point. Do you kind of agree?
Yeah, I have one story that I vaguely remember because I was so young. I feel like I was 6 or 7. I was playing Uno with my dad. And for some reason, I don't know if I called Uno. But I think maybe it's that moment. The moment you pick it up, there's that rule of when you put your thumb on it or when you lift it up. There's
it's one of the two.
It's hazy.
You have to say Uno.
You have to say Uno, but it's like in that moment of before I could say Uno, he said Uno, and then he won the game. So I took the card and I said, F you and 7-year-old, whatever that might be. And then I taped it to my wall and said, I will never play Uno with my father ever again. And I've never played Uno with him since. If he asks me to this day, I'll say, fuck you, Dad, get the fuck out of here.
So, if he really wanted to play Uno on his deathbed, would you be like, I guess? And this is going to be the funniest thing. You're breaking down all these barriers.
Cards.
And just, he's putting down the last card, and you're like, you didn't say Uno! And it just, the heart rate meter flatlines.
I win!
Oh, shit. Dude, that was pretty dark stuff.
Oh, that's
in
perfect.
Your face! Yeah.
I told you.
That's some good spite.
Yeah.
Hockey's all about spite, isn't it?
I feel like...
Is revenge and vengeance spite? I feel like they're related. I don't know if they're the same thing. They're like different, but...
I don't know, because there's a nuance with spite that like lasts longer. Because if someone checks me in hockey, I'm pissed off. I take their number and then I get them later. But that's retribution. Spite is kind of
but
just
I might get them multiple times later. I remember that number for the rest of my life. I think I still remember like number 14 on Citigroup. Yeah, I would elbow him in a crowded bar 15 years later and just be like, yeah, you think it's funny? Shit. And he would be like, who are you? What did I do? That's goddamn right. You don't high stick people when you're up by 7 goals. You're a piece of shit. What? I haven't played hockey in 10 years.
I don't know that counts for spite.
It doesn't? Is it just long-term revenge?
I don't... Well, what is the... You have official definitions, right? Does spite require a certain level of, like, failing, or...
No, needing to hurt or harm another one just for the sake of it, I think. Let me give the actual one.
Deliberately hurt, annoy, or offend.
Isn't that
guess
weird?
It's very light. It's not what I really thought it was.
Exactly. When I read that, I was like, there's got to be more to it. And then I looked at the second definition. I was like, it's the same thing again.
I thought there's like a jealousy or a regret or a loss associated with it. And then like, it's more nuanced.
Personal?
To me.
Is it personal? Like in the intro, I mentioned how sometimes I tried to do this. I ended up not doing it because my mother would not allow me. I had a speeding ticket and I was going to pay pennies, dimes, and quarters and stuff, which legally you can do, correct? I actually don't know the legality on that.
Yeah, you 100% can pay in pennies. They're real tender.
Penny? Yeah. Well, would you have to like throw them on the floor and wait for them to count them before you can leave?
I think they would make you count them.
That'd be a dick move. That'd be very spiteful.
Yeah. I feel like spite has like a back and forth. Like you can't just like be spiteful for no reason, which is the definition lacks that. Usually there's like an aggression on one side or a failing on one side, and then you try to like make up for it through spite. So,
yeah, like a justification, but like an anti-justification.
Yeah. A completely illogical justification for doing it forever.
that literally makes it more difficult for possibly both parties. Like, it's not even that it makes it easier for you. Usually it's actually harder for both. It's like making it harder for both parties, I feel like. It's harder for me to get the pennies than to have just paid the speeding ticket. Do you know what I mean?
Indeed.
But I want it to be difficult for me and also for those sons of bitches. Is that a part of it, I guess?
Yeah.
Like, I will suffer so that I can make you suffer more.
I kind of feel like there's an element of spite that also is like, when it gets to like your regret or your happiness, like your happiness doesn't mean jack shit. When you're like spiteful, you're like, I will make myself miserable just to make sure that the other person is miserable. Even if I'm more miserable than they are, it's like,
at least they're miserable.
It's worth it. It's rubbing their face in it and being like, gotcha. I don't care. I gave up everything.
So is it a grudge?
I feel like this is grudge. Like grudge material. Like, does grudge entail the same thing? Like, these dictionary words for human emotions are so light.
Check grudge. Well, I guess because it has to be light because it probably applies to like one thing that we're not accounting for. That's like, oh, it's barely ever that.
A persistent feeling of ill will or resentment resulting from a past injury or insult.
I like that. That feels
Better.
spiteful to me.
It's better.
Talk about
I'm
grudges.
spiteful of the definition of spite.
Exactly.
Should be.
That's so weird. We should do something about this. Yeah, we should write dictionarycom a letter.
Oh, here's a better. Why is this like? There's like a sidebar on this. Like when you search for grudge.
For grudge?
Spite is a sentiment. So to spite is to intentionally annoy, hurt, or upset, even when there might be no gain, and even when those actions might cause the person spiting harm as well.
Oh,
Spiteful
that's
words
awesome.
or actions are delivered in such a way that it's clear to the person delivering them just to annoy, hurt, or upset.
Hell yeah.
That's
Okay,
much
cool.
much better.
That is
Wikipedia.
much better.
Yeah, whatever. Dictionary.com. Go F off. I'm never going to use you again.
Or strictly wiki podcast from here on out.
Yeah. Well, it's like certain websites. Like if you hit a website that looks like it's from the 1990s, you remember that. Or like the person who cuts you off, but they have like a 1-800 plumber on the back of their car. You're just like, no, not
All
again.
right.
I will never use you.
I know who you are, pal. Even if it was just one of his workers, like it doesn't matter.
Have you ever called those like "How's my driving"? Has anyone ever called "How's my
No,
driving"? Do you have those on those?
We don't have them on my work pants, and it wouldn't. It barely would matter. I've only gotten in a few road rage incidents, which aren't spite, I guess.
No, that's anger. That's flowing
They're too
anger.
quick. They're too
Yeah.
quick. Although it's weird because the hockey one holds up because there's stops in play, there's moments where everybody's calm and peaceful-ish, and then there's the puck drop, there's a intermission, there's goals that happen, and then 2 periods later, it's back. Like, you know what I mean?
I think
Does that make it
also
spite?
there's like a level
Spite?
of civility that's understood, even though you're like, you're checking people.
Combatants.
Yeah. As road rage is like
There's no rules. It's
laws.
literally murder. There's like murder. And then there's not murder, I guess.
But there's no, I don't know. Like the engagement matters. It's like you both intend to engage each other. In road rage, it just something happens and then you react to it and then it builds. So it's not really quite spite because you didn't intend, like you didn't both agree to something. I feel like spite begins with an agreement between two people and then the agreement turns sour.
And then they both are stuck in the agreement together. They're in this relationship together where they hate each other. And they're trying to cordially fuck each other over.
Yeah.
Or in a rules-based way, fuck each other over.
Do you feel that when you do the dishes?
I have spite done dishes, but like, oh no, I've got it. And then do the dishes. Oh, do you need any help? No, I'm going to get that. And you know what? I'll get the coffee too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you sure? Yeah, I'm going to do the ice cube tray. Don't worry about it.
No, I got it.
No, I'm good. Just taking out the trash and recycling real quick. Don't mind me. Go ahead, watch TV. What were we watching? Sounds good. I'm just gonna do the trash recycling. I'm gonna brush his teeth. Then I think I'll put the pink stuff on his teeth. Oh yeah. That's fine. That's what I do. Good.
I casually mentioned to my wife that she could clean a little better, like last week. Ooh.
That's not spite, dude. That's
No.
dangerous territory.
Yeah, but what she did was entirely spiteful. Is that she immediately cleaned everything while being pissed off and didn't talk to me at all. It's
Hell
like,
yeah.
this is
That's
exactly
spite.
what I
That's the
wanted, but
definition.
not in the nature which I desired.
Yeah. So I got what I wanted, but not at all what I wanted.
Yeah.
And now I will pay for it.
100%. You'll be sacrificed for the.
Fight happens in relationships. That's 100%. So, but what about like I keep going back to either a hockey one because that's sports. It's interesting. You can get. I guess that's not spite. I don't even know. What about in like the you're fighting authority? Like I said, paying a speeding ticket with pennies, or like not like a business spite. There's business spite, right?
I feel like everything I've automated is out of spite. It's like, you
Interesting.
could fill out this gigantic form, or you could make a robot do it with one click. It's like, screw everyone else that does this in like legitimate human time.
And you're wasting our time. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to use bots to make money off of you.
Yeah, exactly.
You're turning them into the workhorse, sort of.
I think that's
reverse.
more
Yeah.
spiting the entire system, because you look at like the way you trade your time for money. It's like I could utilize my time better so that I can enjoy the pieces where I don't have to work for you, So I'm secretly spiting you while I'm like playing Clash of Clans or like Words with Friends or something in the time that I have like down and too alone to myself.
And it's weird because you're giving them the time value they want, but you're not even doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So they think they're tricking you, but really you're sort of tricking them.
What if you made an automated program that did your line card sheet, whatever the hell you just talked about? It's like, what if that was just like printed out at the end of the day? It was just like entered in a database, and like then they can actually do statistics on it and be like, who had the most lines?
Oh, nice. Oh, wow. This is incredible. Good job.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah.
We'll take that from you now. Thank you. You didn't contract that out ahead of time? Oh, that's ours.
I guess, and that's wild to think about it. So that's the way I operate, is out of spite at my job. You have to sell X amount to get commission, right? And I'm nowhere near that level, so I purposely don't sell. I literally anti-sell wire and cable.
Yeah, it's the way the system is set up, right? It's a mathematical, it's a bar you can't reach.
But I'd have to be much farther along and have much better accounts and much more higher bids, et cetera, et cetera. And because I don't, I'm like, ooh, we're going to have to save me some time here, so I'm not going to sell you this material. But we want to buy it from your company. And I'm like, sorry.
Do you think from a business perspective, it's like they're checking like the number of months before Nick gets fired is like precisely the amount that he doesn't sell? Like there's a quotient that matches up to like whether we need to fire Nick today.
A perfect amount. Like they're like, it's weird, Art. It's like everyone around you's numbers have gone down. Crazy coincidence. COVID.
Have like a heat map of the office. Like let's shuffle them around and just like slowly grows red and darker and deeper.
Different areas.
He's a cancer.
Hilarious.
He's infiltrated our
system.
system.
I guess. He's in. We have to get him out now. Quick. Before he poisons the rest against us. I guess that's spite. That's also like FU. Spite is FU. It's FU to different sources, and I don't know. Did you happen to look up like most spiteful things ever done in history type dumb shit?
I did not.
Do type 5 most incredible things done purely spite, or 5 most spiteful things ever done. And it's just interesting because a couple of these were hilarious. Some of them are stupid, and the number one result was a cracked list. And I used to like cracked lists when I was like
20 years ago.
Probably 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere there.
Most spiteful. Spiteful.
Yeah,
top 5 spiteful. ohmymag.co.uk.
No, just do top 5 most spiteful things.
Oh.
And it should show up, but you need to see a couple of these pictures. They're kind of funny.
I gotta add things to it.
Just top 5 most
purely
spiteful
incredible things done out of spite. 5 most incredible. Cracked.
Sure.
Man, look at that.
So one of the ones that shows up on a lot of these lists is the Chinese nail houses.
Oh, I like those. Yeah.
Which you know exactly what they are.
Example.
It's older people who like dug in. They have their land, and big corporations are buying up the entire block. But these people won't sell.
So the movie
whether
Up.
It's for nostalgia. The movie Up, correct. It's like nostalgia. It's they don't think they're getting a fair shake from the corporation, which usually they do. I think corporation does a pretty good job of figuring out what it's worth and giving you more because they want the whole thing.
Yeah.
But there's always 1 or 2 houses that won't sell, and then if they don't sell for 10 years, guess what? Even if you up your number to an incredible number and they don't sell, you can't finish your project. You're screwed. So these houses in China, it's very deliberate. Did you look at the second picture? Scroll down.
Oh, the one in the middle of the street or the one on top of the like mountain? It's like
both. I think both are hilarious.
Both are perfect.
So they were making like a highway in China. I'm not sure where this is, but it's hilarious. Homeowner Luo Bogan, for example, refused to allow him to demolish his home. So they built a highway around his goddamn house. It's literally...
Like the line markers don't even go
the
around
line
it.
markers don't even go around the house. They just stop at the house. And then there's like a elongated area, and then it continues around. And I'm like, that's hardcore.
I wonder if he got more money because he was the last person. I think that would be my goal.
Look,
Did it say he didn't?
I mean, he would, but look, they built the road. At this point, what do they need from him?
There's no way that
they ruined his project. His house has probably been hit several times. I mean, at this point, it's probably demolished, but And then another one where they left his house on the level it was on, but they were demolishing the other area.
Else. Yeah.
Like, 50 yards down, and it's just his house on a mountain now. Good luck. Thanks for not selling. Another funny one was some guy bought the house across from Westborough Baptist Church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he turned it into like a peace house, and he painted it gay pride rainbows all friggin' across it. And it's directly across from where they hold church, where they used to hold church. I'm sure they've moved.
Oh, like the stolen bucket.
Oh, the bucket? Yeah.
I just like that, like, you would argue over something so insignificant and they'd keep it for like 700 years to be like
700 years. That bucket had to do with who won the Battle of Bologna, and it happened in the 1300s. And they have it encapsulated in glass. They make replicas of it. They hang it around. It's like their mantra. We still got your bucket, asshole, is the ultimate comeback. It's like, shit's 700 years old.
I do like those because I feel like if my property was singled out as like, you need to move, or like I took your thing and I go, hey, that's my thing, and I go, no, it's not. I like immediately be like, it is my thing, and I will figure out how to spite you and like maybe not get it back. I will ruin other things of yours secretly, yes. Not overtly.
Yeah.
I will destroy your life without you knowing what is getting destroyed.
You will rue the day.
I also feel like getting fired is spiteful, because there's an agreement between like the employer that like employers don't give a shit about you really, and then once you say like, hey, I have this other job, and then you get fired, it's like they don't like that you're disturbing, you're shitting in the well, you're stirring up other people.
You flipped a switch where now you are literally the opposite of useful to them. You're actually anti-useful to them.
Yeah.
You're draining their time. They're not going to pay you. They're not bringing you income. Like they hate you.
Has anyone gotten fired at your job? Do they escort them out?
Oh, dude, it's crazy. So most places will give you the 2 weeks. Not here, dude. Not in sales, because you all own accounts. They're afraid that you'll not work
Sour them. Yeah.
Yep. So they hear you're looking for a new job, they might fire you. They hear you have a new job, you're immediately told to leave that day. It's like, whoa. Like, there's a guy who worked here for 18 years, and he was in the President's Club and all that, and I remember he was like, yeah, I tried to give him, like, I wanted to work for another week and a half or something like that, and it was Thursday, and they were like, you're allowed to come in tomorrow, but Friday's your last day. And it was like 15 years, and he was like, oh, I thought, like, we could, like, have a lunch together, like, I miss some of the guys, like, I could help you guys dish out my accounts or whatever. And they were like, no, just, you can come in tomorrow, but that's it. We'll dish out your accounts. We don't need your help.
Yeah, they don't even, like, care about the nuances with each account. I left NASA after 10 years, and I told them, like, a month in advance, and they actually gave me, like, that month. They were just like, okay, yeah. I was like, I thought that was kind of a normal thing. Like, you have an agreement, like, you work so long with somebody that you did great things. You're not going to be spiteful. You're not going to, like, somehow, like, ruin whatever you've done or ruin the work that you're doing. It's like, it was bizarre when the follow-up job that I took, that I told them, and within a day they said, okay, you pack up your stuff, you're out.
Leave.
We don't care
For
that
the same
you
reason.
need
It's
insurance.
almost sales related. It's like almost like they're not going to gain anything from you, even though technically they could have if they were willing to work more with it, but their pride was hurt because you weren't going to be working with them anymore, so they decided that it was better to just cut it off.
It's weird to work with somebody for like a year and be professional the entire time, and then they don't expect you to be professional when you leave. It's like, what understanding do you have of, like, what's your baseline understanding of what a person is and like how they'll act?
Well, and a corporation treats that different than a person, and yet a corporation pretends to be a person sometimes, but not really.
Yeah, like, corporations have more power than people.
Of course they do, and more money and everything. And then when they feel like you're not useful, it's not a friendship anymore. It's like just sever. It's just straight up like, oh, you're not useful. Excuse me.
That's one of the weirdest things, is leaving a company and like all the people that are like your pseudo friends, they're just like gone.
Yeah. I do worry about that. Like, I'm ready to leave this place right now, but like I have human connections there. Like I love my bros, like you know what I mean, my guys,
Your bros, your dudes.
my dudes.
I want to make love to my dudes.
Yo guys, I just want to do one last rep shirtless in the gym.
Your final request. I'm quitting, but I'm gonna do a shirtless, sweaty rep right now.
I just need a couple of the
rock
bros.
squats.
Come up. We're gonna be doing some deep sets.
I want you there. I want you there. You're gonna watch
me. I
me.
want you there. F you. You're not allowed up in the gym.
Do you think you're more spiteful than I am? I think we're all equally spiteful. I mean, you have to remember.
That's an interesting question.
If you have like lack of memory, do you think you like those people are spiteful? I don't think they're like. If you can't remember what that other person did, do you think you still emotionally like have that sentiment that like you forget? Like you're just like, I hate you, but I don't know why. But I'm gonna spite you.
I think we all want to stick it to someone at some point for sticking it to us. Like there is a human element that's like, I hate what you're doing to me. You're trying to make this nuanced. You're trying to make this difficult. You're trying to do this. I will give it back to you. And I don't think it has anything to do with memory, per se. I think memory just helps you maintain a longer timeline spite. You know what I mean?
Craft a more logical story. And proximity. Continued back and forth. Yeah, most of the spite has to have, like, it happens in front of you. It's like it's within your realm. It's in your next to your property. It's like you're in contact with that person daily.
It's your relationship, your job, or your neighbor usually, right?
Something you think is built up over time, and then you lose it. What about spiteful girlfriends? Do you have any? I don't really have any girlfriends that wanted to.
I don't have any girlfriends that were spiteful. Like girlfriends who cut up your jeans with scissors and sent back pieces of them or something, and like, oh, I sent you back your jeans, and it's like, you cut them into pieces with scissors. This had to take hours. Like, I hear those kind of stories, but never happened to me.
I had one friend who went through a bad breakup, and he had a decent amount of her stuff, like, at my place, and, like, she came to get it, and, side story was that he was, like, giving stuff to her, and I was like, wait, no, that's mine. That's actually mine. You didn't look at it. You're just getting But in the end, she had forgotten, like, a keyboard, and, like, I remember him taking the keyboard and, like, smashing it and, like, hitting the ground with it, and all the keys popping off first. And then he, like, found a hammer and was just, like, it was such a good visual of him, like, smacking it with a hammer and the keys just exploding off of the keyboard. Like, that's
crazy. I have
spite.
a keyboard exploding memory. That's awesome. That is pure spite. That's really good. I love pure spite sometimes. When it leads to violence, it's kind of enjoyable. Like violence towards an inanimate object, like not towards like someone's dog or something like that.
Completely illogical violence that doesn't hurt anybody.
Mm-hmm. I do enjoy it.
What's your keyboard story?
Where my roommate Ben was a Cowboys fan, and he always shit on us because we were all Eagles fans. And the one time he was laughing at us, and I remember Drew Bledsoe was driving in the fourth quarter, and they were going to win, and he was giving everyone the finger, and he was just talking so much shit, and because we always just gave him shit. And, like, this is his moment to shine. Let him have it. Like, great, the Cowboys are going to beat. It wasn't even the Eagles. It was some other team. And he threw an interception when all they had to do was, like, kneel on the ball or kick a field goal, and the guy ran it back for a touchdown, and Ben Jones was so mad, he went up into his room. We were laughing at him hysterically. And we opened his door, and he had kicked over his tee, ripped the keyboard straight out of the USB, and was slamming it onto the end of the chair, which is the chair with like the four legs. And individual keys were flying through the air as I was laughing so hard my side hurt, and I could feel his pain. It felt so good. And just, I remember letters and keys were popping up everywhere, and he was just slamming that keyboard down, saying so many curse words. Ah, I loved it.
This is the hockey spite that I think, this is what, like, I was thinking, like, in-game, but I lived next to Buffalo, and we went to a Buffalo playoff game against the Flyers, and the Flyers lost, but naturally I wore a Flyers jersey, and, like, the people I was with, there's only, like, me and, like, one other Flyers fan, and, like, we, like, in the entire section, like, there was only, like, two of us. So, like, naturally, when the Sabres won, it was like an eruption of everyone in that like section just like berating me,
cheering
like,
at you,
oh.
like yeah, and you're like, fuck,
yeah,
son of a bastard.
And then having to walk out of that arena with people chanting at you.
Interestingly enough, did you enter into the social contract by wearing another team's gear into their building, right? Like, you know this is a risk, correct?
Yeah, 100%. You know it's going to be bad.
Of course.
But not that bad.
You don't know how it's going to end, but you sort of do. I mean, so you wear it, you're hoping your team wins, in which case you'd be going, yeah!
They would still all shout at you. Like, they might be a little silent, a little quieter.
Right.
Because they have nothing to rub in your face, but
then when you lose and you're still wearing it, and there are a whole building of people, and some of them are adding and chiding at you, and then more are laughing and chiding at you, and then more people hear you and see you and they're chiding, and then just everyone's enjoying your pain big time.
The worst is that I had a buddy with me wearing a jersey, and we go to leave, and like there's like a sea of blue around us, and they're all chanting, and he like bolted. Like he bolted for the exit as fast as possible. I look around, it was Den. Dennis.
Oh my God, what a...
And I look back and he's gone, and I'm just like, oh crap, like I have to endure this stuff on my own. Like it's not even like that's one of those moments that you can't leave your buddy in the middle of a crowd like that.
Nah, you can't. Things could get crazy, you never know.
Yeah. It's like one of those things that like sports fans will like they'll go over a line of like they'll touch you or spit on you or like shout in your face or like yeah, it's a little bit
a drunk one.
Yeah. Especially the top section. Those people are always rowdy.
yeah. What's interesting about that is the sports thing. It's because the sports rivalry isn't just one game. It's not even that season. It's like
remembering 20 years ago. Yeah.
It could be.
I'll remember Forsberg. Oh, losing.
What about him?
It was like he was the one in that playoff series, and like he had such a poor game because he had like a broken wrist or something.
The foot.
It was the foot. Yeah.
Oh, it was the foot, dude. He retired on that foot. I'm not going to blame him entirely. I mean, I really think his foot was fucked.
Yeah, he was completely destroyed.
He played terribly for like 6 weeks to 6 months. He was out of it. Little hands? That's crazy. Yeah, I didn't know your hands were little. Yeah. But yeah, he did not carry us.
Yeah. If ever they faced him in the playoffs again, I remember that moment, and I want revenge.
We did play them again, and Billy Leno scored like a whole bunch of like important game winners. Billy Leno. I said the name. Yeah. And it's funny because they signed him to a multi-year deal worth a lot of money, and he was pretty garbage.
Yeah, I don't know what happened after that, but
well, and then here's another thing. Like you think of them again, and you go back further, and you're like, Matthew Barnaby, disgusting.
Yep.
I just saw a video of him
Rob
today. I showed Rob Ray. Did they have Rob May too? Oof. I think they had May and Ray. But anyway, I just showed my son some hockey fight videos, goalie fights, and there's Matthew Barnaby standing there, right? And he pushes Garth Snow, and Garth Snow's like, huh? And he just turns around and starts punching him in the head. And there's something in me that snaps. Where I was like, I would punch Matthew Barnaby right today. Mm-hmm. Where is he? Where is that son of a bitch? But like these things are involved in spite where that's coded in with Hasek stoning us 10 years prior, and like 5 years ago they win a game like 7-1 and rub it in, and like all these things run together. And spite it's because there's a long standing big meaty thing, you know what I mean?
A tenderloin.
Oh, yeah. Tenderloin, all right. And you just want to smack it. But it's like the rivalry, it runs deep, and it's almost like I think spite is the beginning of a rivalry.
It's been marinating, yeah.
But if spite marinates long enough, it becomes a rivalry. Is that true?
Do you think that's why like certain wars happen between ethnicities? Like there's like, was it Pakistan versus India? It's like there's a bunch of spite there, but people might not actually like have experienced it, But like, there's a national spite. So like, you inherit it. You like know those people. It's like a tribal thing. Of like, they're not me, and I know they did these bad things, and you somehow you absorb like that hatred.
Yeah, I think you can absorb that hatred. I think hatred isn't just absorbed. I think it's a natural feeling. Like, you can feel when spite. Like, I know when I can be spiteful for someone. Like, I talked about my bros at work. I couldn't be spiteful with them. Like, I could be funny spiteful with them, and like jovial spiteful, but like I don't even know if I could really be spiteful with them. Whereas someone else at the office who I don't like from day one, like, there's a thing, I don't know, it exists where it's like
It grates on your personality. There's been certain office settings that there's that person that just like, they can never say things like right. They can never be relaxed and like actually in the click. Like, they just kind of like say something that doesn't, it just sticks with you, and you can't get over it.
It's almost like they're doing something to make themselves alienated, but also saying, why am I alienated at the same time? And you're like, oh, shut up.
I'm the victim while trying to victimize. Those people.
Teacher, you forgot to assign homework.
Oh my God.
Like at 2:59 p.m. Like that person.
Oh. Did we cover it? I don't know.
I don't even know. Like, I feel like we did cover spite, but I could talk about it for another hour, but I don't know what it is. Like, here's something I did out of spite that's interesting. A good thing. You can do good things out of spite, right?
I guess. You can drive yourself to be better.
I got in good shape out of spite. Yeah. F you.
Hate muscles.
Like, it's not the same now because, like, I'm in a better place. But 6 months to 8 months ago, no, I was working out, trying not to get fat and like look good because, like, F you, I'm gonna look better than you. You're goddamn right. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be healthier than you too. I'm gonna eat healthy and not eat sweets. And I'm gonna work out because I hate you. And you know what's funny about that? It sounds messed up, but it may be one of the better driving forces. What are the driving forces in doing something? Love. Love is incredible. It's powerful, but it's got a shelf life. Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
It doesn't. Love for your children
Ephemeral.
is different than like romantic love. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Covered in a previous episode. I think love for your children can propel you to do just about anything. Take on shitty jobs. Work somewhere for 20 years. Like, work your hands to the bone. Like, I get it. Like, that's probably number one. Probably. Number two, I'm going to say spite. Because I put spite in the realm with revenge and stuff like that. I always say this. Take the hockey analogy. There's a loose puck sitting right there. Everyone just collided, and if you can skate to it fast enough, you'll get on a breakaway, and you got a chance to win the game for the team. Like, you'll skate really friggin' hard for that puck. Scenario 2, number 38. He hit you in the balls 6 times. He hit your goalie twice. He hit the girl on the team in her boob with his elbow. Oh, he's over in the corner, equally distanced from where that puck is. And he's not looking, and he's totally just asking for it, and the puck's rifling around in his skates. Who do you think you could actually skate faster to? This is an honest question. 100% it's that guy. I think you could skate faster to him, harder to him, than you could skate for that loose puck to win the game for the team. Do you agree?
This inherent motivation to
hurt, revenge, like mete out justice.
Plus, I also think that it's like in the moment, it's something you can actually rein in. Whereas the other thing, like scoring a goal,
you're
with
right.
a puck,
you don't know that you're going to score.
Yeah.
You don't know that you're going to score.
The odds are lower. Plus, it also might involve like you having years of training to make you better than other people. But you know for sure you can deck that guy. you can 100% nail him.
You skate as fast as you can. And I honestly, truly believe, like, revenge or whatever can propel you quicker to your goal. That's why all these movies are great hits, like the John Wicks and stuff like that. There's something about revenge that, so goddamn powerful. So I'll put ephemeral love for your children, number one. Revenge against your enemies, number two. I think it can shape your entire life. I mean, you can train to be an assassin for revenge purposes only. You can turn your body into a killing machine for revenge. Like, picture this. If someone killed my family, just killed them, and then laughed and drove away, and I knew kind of who they were, but they were too powerful of a collaborate, yeah, maybe I'd get involved with some dark arts and learn some martial arts. Start doing unlicensed gun shit and running different numbers and getting involved with police activity so I could just find them and kill them. I think I could do that.
Do you think
Would you do it?
Do you think a jury would convict you if the person murdered your entire family and then...
I think I wouldn't care.
It wouldn't matter.
Like, do you know what I mean? I'd be like, got him. I'd be in the cuffs. Got him. I don't know.
Just a lot.
There's a point before that. Oh, the driving forces. Like, what else drives people? And maybe mine's more... I think that segment was more about revenge than spite, but, like, they're tied together.
Yeah, like the reason why you train and become better over time is really spite. It's not really revenge. You could build to revenge in like a moment, but I think spite just kind of continues on beyond that. Like, even if you take, like, say you had a neighbor that you really hated, like for some reason you hate currently. Like, and to get back at them, like, could you finalize the fight by getting back at them? Like, usually, like, spite has like a petty element to it that makes it so that it's not really, like, it doesn't make the fight final. Like, it's a back and forth. Do you think you'd be so spiteful that you could, like, kill your neighbor? Like, is killing somebody out of spite, like, really, like, possible?
I guess it is. No, because then you end... Spite is an argument that you want to win. So maybe you can't kill someone because then there's no argument to win. He's dead. She's dead. Like, you need them to be alive so they can say you're right. Then you can fold your arms and go,
oh no.
Told you. Told you. Oh no.
Oh no.
So, like, can you picture a John Wick style movie where your neighbor kindly says to you, "Oh, the tree fell on your property, so you're going to have to pay for the fence damage." And you're like, "No, I mean, it's your tree." And they're like, "Check the bylaws in the township guidance." And you look, and they're right. And it's totally their fault. And you're so mad.
Those bylaws.
No, better. You planted a tree on your side and nurtured it and whispered hateful things to it and made it grow ever so slightly to the left and constantly grew it and grew it and grew it. And then when it reached a certain height, 18 years later, you started poisoning it on the left side, just ever so slightly. And just, "Hi, neighbor." And then they're like, "Your tree's looking very beautiful." And you're like, "Sure is. See you soon, Ethel." And then, like, you're poisoning it little by little by little by little. And then one day, you know what's going to happen. And you plant, like, some kind of weird disease stuff that makes the tree die, like, in 2 days, right before a big storm. And then the whole tree falls over, knocks over her fence, runs into her house. And you look at her and say something from 20 years ago. "The bylaw says it fell on your side, Ethel. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." Like,
the subtext.
Can you imagine?
I love that subtext.
Can you imagine, like, a John Wick style movie done that way, though? Like, with sharp cuts and, like, really cool action scenes, but they're just watering the plant. And then when it all happens, he's like, "Sorry, check the bylaws."
To our movie with, like, the end being that.
Yeah.
Close scene.
Ultimate revenge.
Fade dark.
Yeah,
Fade to black.
Fade to black. Revenge was served. I don't know. I would watch it. But is that is that a thing you could picture?
I would do that.
Do that. I would do it. I would get revenge via tree. Even if I had to grow the tree from a baby.
From a baby. I don't know. I wanna set up all these scenarios so that they actually happen, and film them, and capture the reactions of the person I just spited, and have them be like, oh, so shocked that I remembered, and then I actually got them back. And then it's gonna take another 20 years to grow that damn tree. By then I'll move out. That'd be great. The day before.
It would be. I mean, also consider, though, who's winning? I mean, you're getting the ultimate revenge, but you spent 20 years getting the ultimate revenge. You lost 20 years of their life that they didn't even know about. So, spite's a funny thing, man. Nobody wins. Everybody wins. I don't know. Is it the inability to forgive, to move on?
I guess this is my personality 100%. So I can't, like, I wish things were perfect, and if they're not, I always, like, remember them. Like that time you said the wrong words to, like, some girl, and you're just like, shit, like, oh, that came out wrong. And then it's, like, forever ruined. But the spite is, like, regret. Like, you spite yourself. You're like, ugh.
It's anger.
Yeah.
Anger, I guess.
What about in spite of? Like, what does that really mean, in spite of?
To do damage to yourself, or your career, or your objective, because you know it will ruin someone else's career, objective, happiness.
It's like, in spite of is without being affected by the particular factor mentioned. So, like, it's strange that it uses in spite of. Because it's kind of the opposite, is that you don't pay attention to the thing that matters. Or, like, the factor that should matter, you overcome it. It's kind of like unspiteful.
Unspiteful. Nice. I guess it's like taking a hit for the team, but not for the team. For taking a hit so that your enemy's team gets worse. Like, you put yourself in a way where you don't have yourself protected, you don't have it planned out, but you know that by doing this, you'll screw something up for so-and-so and make it harder for them.
Let's wrap it up. I think we're fading. I know.
We're getting old, dude. And Spite did not drive this episode.
Do you feel like you're still, like, being spiteful as you get older? I feel like you lose skills and then you're spiteful because of that. But I feel also your emotions kind of dull. Maybe around now, because you still have skills.
You keep saying spiteful, but maybe it's anger. Revenge. Mincing words at this point. So spiteful? Maybe not more spiteful. Well, maybe. At young people?
At the skills that you lost. The abilities.
Maybe. Well, to round it out, I would say spite is somewhere between revenge and a grudge. Somewhere between heat of the moment. Spite is something that is a contract between two people that you didn't even know you were entering into. Even if it's contract like the rules of the road. Like, one thing you don't do is go alongside a truck and drive the exact same speed. But if you wanted to spite someone behind you, I'm sure as shit you could do it. It's very spiteful. It's almost like you want to get a joy from
under their skin.
No. From not enjoying something to ruin someone else's joy.
Schadenfreude, where you're supposed to, like...
Schadenfreude.
I'm not German.
I'm not judging. I'm not judging.
You see someone else's demise and you enjoy it thoroughly.
Even if it's part of your demise.
It's like the person who's way too cocky and they finally make a mistake that everyone notices and you just kind of, like, relish it. You're just like, yes. Finally. Feel shame. It's like... Well, that wraps it up, I think.
It does. We talked about spite. We talked about everything about spite.
A lot of spite.
A lot of spite.
I like how we're the least spiteful in this episode.
I know. Well, I didn't feel spiteful. I felt like kind of mirthy.
Mirthy?
Mirthful.
I feel sleepy. I haven't had a beer in a while and it's just slowing me down.
Ooh. Big man. Well, you may want to go take care of those little hands of yours and In the meantime, folks, hit up all our socials. Tell us any instance where your girlfriend or boyfriend was incredibly spiteful. Maybe an employer, maybe someone else.
Nick will never talk about his
I
private
will-
life.
I will always talk about my private life and the life of my privates. I will gladly share that with anyone.
It's going to be on trial eventually. And then we're like, this is what led up to that. And I'd be like, episode 132.
Episode is a court case example. Perfect. Thanks, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for giving us some of your thoughts and letting us give you our thoughts. Don't be spiteful. Raise your voice when it's a question. So, thanks, folks. We like you. We like you a lot. We will not spite you.
Good night.